So, very good morning, everyone. So, today we are here regarding the well-being of the IIT Guwahati campus community, supported by the team of doctors from the Apollo Hospital. The idea is to give the important awareness regarding how to keep our mental well-being so that we are all managing ourselves in a very effective manner to keep the life very active and engaged and focused. And we are very happy that the Apollo team is here for enriching how to be even better for us. And therefore, without any further delay, now we will start this wellness program. So now I request our Honorable Director, Professor Devendra Jaligal, to welcome the team and to open this program for the betterment of the campus community. Sir, please.
Welcome, Dr. Venugopal Reddy and his team who have visited us today. And this is, when I met him at Chennai, and when we had lost a very valuable life in our campus, and he knew about it, and so we got into talking, and he suggested that it's possible to address these modern problems in a way that we could have zero suicide campuses. So I've been pursuing with him, and today he and his team are with us. They have a packed program. They also met some students yesterday. I know many students who may not want to be seen, but we nevertheless want to get in touch with them. So we have also made this event online. So we hope all our students and the entire campus community, right, connects online and comes and takes the benefit of this. I think it's a wonderful program that his team has put together. So without wasting too much of time, I welcome the team, and please, we start.
So, at the outset, I would like to thank esteemed director, sir, faculty for bringing up this initiative and personal regards to Dr. Venugopal, sir. So, to surface this beautiful initiative, address mental health issues as well, lifestyle issues, which is very important in this present scenario. So, giving a context, this would be a combined presentation by me, Dr. Bhargav, I'm a consultant psychiatrist, and Madam Dr. Suparna Ghosh, she is a clinical psychologist. So, we would be walking through certain topics which are vital for the mental health, and will be at the end of the session, we would be also ready to take some questions if there are any. So, are we ready to start, Madam?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so very good morning once again to the faculty of IIT Guwahati, and a special good morning to all you students who are here with us today, and also those of you who are joining online. Now, I can understand that you all are in environment of high achievers, but then in this kind of an environment, sometimes we tend to neglect something which is very, very important in this race of trying to achieve the best, and that is mental health. So today we will take you through, as Dr. Bhargav said, through the simple and yet important aspects of mental health, which I think we all need to go through once in a while. So, without much ado, we will start the program and the presentation. So,
So the topic we've discussed today is we have highlighted it as mind yourself. So we have to know what is this mind. So there is a concept called brain versus mind, right? So when we say brain, that is more physical. When we say mind, that is not, that is hypothetical, right? So simple words, what we say is mind is what brain does. So mind is all about cognitions, your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and things like that. So mind is, so I think we all have brains, but we are losing our minds somewhere. So this is the context. So we'll move forward quickly with the slides, right? So a small intro about ourselves. Okay. There is a beautiful video which we are about to play to see the context, to set the context and to understand the issues in a better way. Yeah.
Okay, so you've just watched a video. So my question is now to the students. What do you think this video was all about? Any idea? You can just, I'm sure all of you know. Yes, please. What is it about? Sorry? Peer pressure, okay. But the kind of behavior pattern the girl was showing, what is this? Do you know? Now, basically, this girl is suffering from something called anxiety. Yes, of course, we are going to deal and we are going to understand how anxiety works in a detailed manner. a little later. But one more question to the students again, and then I'll come to the faculty, is what is your observation about this video? Any observation, especially the mother's role? Yes, please, please. Did she say the right things to her? A little louder, please. Exactly. The students feel the mother was negligent about understanding the problem of the daughter. Anything else? Any one of you? We have little time, so. And have you noticed that this girl is a high achiever? Yes, she has topped her class, and that's why her friends were asking her to give a speech, and which she could not because of the crippling anxiety attack that she had at that point of time. Yes. So, this, my friends, is a very common problem, especially amongst high achievers. You know, there's something called quarter life crisis. Are you aware of quarter life crisis? You've heard about midlife crisis, right? But quarter life crisis is something that young students go through. And when they find that maybe the other friend has completed the PhD or maybe has landed up with a very good job somewhere and I have not yet. So they go through a very severe phase in their life, which is called quarter life crisis. Now, my one more question to the faculty is, have you, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Correct. Yes, yes. So, yes, you may repeat your because it's getting recorded. So,
If the girl is a super achiever and she has topped her class, why she should be happy? Why should she is having anxiety? That is not clear to me.
yes,
Yes.
yes, sir. That's a very, very pertinent and important question. That do we see anxiety even in high achievers? And the answer is yes. Will the students agree to me? Because all of you who have landed up in IITs, institutions like IITs, y'all are all high achievers, and yet we go through anxiety because the cause is not just academics, sir. This girl could be having some other issues in her life. And so, because she's unable to cope with that issue, she's suffering from this anxiety problem.
One more way of understanding this is anxieties or depressions or any, they are biological phenomena. See, mind or mental health is not philosophy, is what we say. That's why we tend to the first word when we say a parent, counselor, or don't say that it is normal. Don't say that you be confident. Don't say that. See, that is a biological phenomena where a 6-year-old can suffer and a 60-year-old can suffer, despite of whatever you are. So it is, that's why we call it as disease, which we are going to explain in the going forward slides. So now we can see the next slide. We have put three terms: stress, anxiety, depression, where these are buzzwords. Wherever you see in the internet, this anxiety, stress, depression. So I think we will just briefly tell you what exactly this is so that we'll have a clear demarcation. Now,
Yes, so the first word that we very commonly come across is stress. So I'm sure all of us have gone through stress in some point in our life, even if we are not going through it right now. Yes. So stress is a state of worry or mental tension, or rather, it's a body's reaction to challenge or demand. And this is, you can say, when we are threatened with a situation, the solution to which is not available to us. And so we go through a condition which is called stress. And of course, there are a lot of physiological things or changes happening in the brain, which doctor will explain to you. But as a psychologist, I can tell you that it is like, you're walking in a lonely or deserted street and suddenly a very funny looking man comes to you. So we really don't know what's going to happen? So usually we give out 3 kinds of reactions, and that's fight, or freeze. Either we run away from the situation, or we fight that man, or we just freeze and we don't know what to do. So we'll go more into all this in our upcoming presentation.
The
And
second thing is anxiety, sir. So anxiety is nothing but an excessive worry where a person would be under constant state of worry for small things. I worry about my upcoming seminar, I worry about my health, I worry about what is not happening, I worry about my finance. Constant state of worry. So which doesn't even go when the stress is not there. Like, yes, I have an EMI to pay, that is a stress. But I don't have any EMI to pay, but I start worrying I'll not be financially adequate. It's a state of worry despite there is no stress or an evident stress. So stress versus anxiety. This is how you should differentiate. Stress is something which is immediately happening there and your body is reacting. Anxiety, there is no stressor. Stressor is some trigger is not there, but I still worry about something.
the next very important area of discussion is depression. So basically, depression, especially when we talk about clinical depression, it's like a persistent feeling of sadness. We are feeling sad sometimes for no reason. We even don't know ourselves why are we feeling so sad, right? So it's a persistent feeling of sadness, loss of interest that affects how you feel, think, and handle daily activities. So there is a complete apathy. We feel we want to keep ourselves isolated. There is no interest in studies. And let me tell you, these kind of cases are coming up very often, even in esteemed institutions or institutions of high achievers. So that's a brief introduction to depression. And again, we'll get into it later in detail.
So, having understood what is stress, what is anxiety, what is depression, three distinct terms. So, we have come with three major manifestations of anxiety. As I said, anxiety is a constant state of how can I see that I am anxious, or how can I say the other person is going through anxiety. So, generalized anxiety, where I've said generalization. It's not one small thing. I'm worried about each and everything. 5 minutes, coffee is not there on my table, the same level of anxiety. I'm losing 5 lakhs in my business, the same level of anxiety. So, generalization, it's not specific. One important. So, you can see the person getting nervous for every small thing. Second, panic attacks. The one which we saw in that video was a typical panic attack. The person starts feeling it's just like you know this ECG. It just goes this way, and suddenly there will be a peak of waves. So panic attacks are some bursts of anxiety where there is something called as impending doom. Students usually will say, "Doctor, I felt it was difficulty, but I felt the difficulty to breathe. I felt something is going to happen. I rushed and did an ECG, and doctor said it was normal." Third important thing, very important, most common question we get during our seminars is procrastination. I know I have to be there. It is very important for me, but I somehow am not getting into it. I procrastinate. I procrastinate. I'm not able to do a day-to-day task, or I'm not able to involve into something which is very important, though I know that is important. So these are the three major manifestations for students where we see them coming to us.
Okay, and before I go into this slide, let me also make it very clear to the students, especially for whom this whole program is designed, that consider this a safe space. So during the course of the session, there could be some personal things shared. Now, let us just keep in mind that we are not going to discuss about it once the seminar is over. Not even go to that person and say, hey, you spoke about this, unless the person comes and speaks to you. So thereby we are creating a safe space, right? So keeping that in mind, we move on to the next slide, which speaks about how does depression manifest among students, because today's seminar is designed specially for students, okay, keeping the students needs in mind. So firstly, what happens is cognitive impairment. That is, they find it difficult to concentrate, to retain information, to recall information, or making decisions. So there is a lot of thing which is involving the mind, especially your thinking part, to keep it in a very lucid language. Yes, so this is one area which gets affected when somebody is suffering from clinical depression. And I would also like to mention here that all sadness is not depression. So let's not use this term loosely. There is a tendency that whenever somebody is feeling sad, they say, I'm depressed. But for us, clinical depression is when one feels sad for at least 2 weeks or more, right? Okay. The next important manifestation is social isolation. They don't want to go out. They would tell their parents, keep the windows closed or the curtains shut. Yeah. So they want to sit in a dark room. So avoiding social situations which can lead to difficulty making friends. So the friends usually come, they ask them, why don't you come out? The person says no. 1 day no, 2 day no, 3 day no. And after that, the friends also stop calling them. Yeah. So this is a major manifestation that we see among students. And another very important manifestation is low mood. So because this is a mood disorder, skipping classes or exams, how many of you are aware? Have you ever come across anybody with these kind of symptoms around you in whatever student life that you have passed through? Have any of you seen? Yes, I can see one head nodding. Okay. Withdrawing from social activities and avoiding academic responsibilities. So the grades drop. A student who was achieving maybe in a CGP of 8 suddenly comes down to, say, 5 or 6. Yeah. So the grades drop. They don't want to go out, meet friends, party, having late nights, which I'm sure all of you have. Yes or no? Yes. So the nights are very important, right? Yes. So usually these are the three major areas of manifestation that we see among students suffering from clinical depression. Yeah. And then we move on.
So, I think stress, anxiety, and depression, three take-home points. If you see this, it's immediately have to be addressed properly. These are the signs where you can pick them. Yeah, you're going through something, just get it addressed. So now, this is an important slide. We have put it after stress, anxiety, and depression because see, most of the young students, addiction of any kind, ranging from mere smoking and excessive internet use to the drugs and other things would be an act of coping. They tend to no brain or no mind wants to remain in an anxious state. Very simple. Suppose someone latches the door outside and say that there are 10 tigers in our room, we all want to get out of this room somehow. So by default we're designed to escape. So but the thing is, young minds choose unhealthy coping as a measure most of the times. It's not like they don't choose a healthy one, but by default most of the times they get into some, so addiction ranges so as a coping. So your view on this,
Yes, yes. So, and this addiction could start from smoking, even shopping. We've heard of retail therapy, that sometimes, when we go out shopping, spend some money, we start and buy things for ourselves, we start feeling better. And then I have encountered somebody, a lady, who would go to extremes to buy things just to keep herself happy. So that's an addiction. Yes. So that looks very safe, that I mean, this lady is not smoking, she's not drinking, she's not doing drugs. So what's the problem? But then that is an addiction. So, of course, binge eating, we all know, yes, unhealthy eating, binge eating, so in order to cope with that, that packet of chips is a savior at many a times. Yes or no? Students, I'm asking you. Yes. And please feel free to raise your hand if you want to share something. This seminar is for you. Okay. And of course, then social network, social media. It is a menace. We all know, right? We can't do without it, and yet we can't control it. We can't draw the boundaries. We don't know where to stop. So it's taking up our nights. The time to rest, the time for the body to recoup and regenerate is used in front of that white light, which is sending signals to the brain to stay awake and not sleep. Yes, agree? Okay, I'm happy. And then, of course, there's gambling, there's doing drugs, alcohol. These are, we all know, are ways of getting addicted, and addiction and mental health, especially depression, go hand in hand. Please understand. In order to fight depression, most of the students, especially, we have seen, they don't seek professional help, but they try to self help them through these methods. Okay, so let's not get into this and move towards a more conscious and healthy living, right? Yes. And
So now coming to the most common causes of anxiety and depression among students. Fundamentally, when it comes to the studies, even they emphasize on an academic pressure because that is the growing phase of their lives and they have to spend more time in academics, and perceived academic pressure. That is one word even the studies use, where a lot of times the college says we have been supportive to the students, we are not forcing them to do certain things, but perception, like I have been forced into it, I have to achieve this. So perception or perceived academic pressure, lack of preparations, very important. Again, the procrastination might be the cause. Sleep deprivation, a very poor sleep routines, very poor lifestyle. Genetics, of course, most of the cases we also see the genetical loading. Like my father had this issue, probably now I'm also having. So my elder brother has this. Traumas in their lives. It might be past trauma or something which is happening right there. Fear of failure and sexuality. This is a new dimension which we are seeing in the young students. Sexuality, like we all heard about this LGBT communities and other things, where that itself has become a big dimension in youngsters, where that if not addressed in a subtle way is triggering them and making them vulnerable to land up in a lot of other psychological issues. So
so till now, all that you have heard, again addressing the students, uh, how many of you find this familiar? Do you find this slide familiar or not? It talks about depression and suicide. And now, is there anybody who has not heard of any suicide happening in their life? All of us have heard some suicide happening somewhere, some lives that we are losing. And why? It's very unfortunate that we are losing, and especially these young lives, only because the life did not get the required support, or the life did not seek the support. Probably we could have been able to help that person, and that person would be with us now today. Yes. So most people who commit suicide, they give out certain signs. We call it cry for help. Problem is we are not aware enough or educated enough to understand those signs. Like when we are on the road, that red sign means we need to stop, right? But here, the awareness level is not up to that mark. So probably family people don't know what to tell them or how to behave with them. Friends, with all their good intention of helping the students, sometimes make mistakes. Or probably they say out things which aggravates the situation. As Dr. Bhargav was saying just a few minutes before, that don't tell them you're okay. Nothing has happened. Kuch nahi hua. Don't say these words because they feel something is grossly wrong with them. You may feel the other way around, but we need to be empathetic. We need to understand that empathy is the key to dealing with people like this. And I'm sure all of you know the difference between sympathy and empathy, right? Would any of you like to emphasize on what is empathy? Yes, I can see y'all nodding your heads. I know y'all know that. So sympathy is showing concern from a distance, to put in simply, but empathy is actually putting yourself in that person's shoes, trying to understand exactly how is my friend feeling. Instead of going and telling that person, "Arey kuch nahi hua, chalo chalo, let's go party, you'll be okay." That person cannot go. That's the inability, right? So what they do is they talk about killing themselves. So let's not take it lightly. I know I deal with patients on a daily basis. I deal with family members on a daily basis. And I know people come and tell me, I know she's not going to do anything. She's just, हम लोग को डरा रहे हैं. That's not the case. We can't take any life for granted. Okay, so they will talk about killing themselves, or they will say that I have no reason to live. My life is of no worth, no value. So it's better off if I'm not there. Right? Or being a burden to others, or feeling trapped inside. So this is how usually people talk before they commit suicide. Then coming to the behavior pattern, of course, if they are into some kind of addiction, they'll increase that. So, increased use of alcohol or drugs, withdrawing from activities, looking for a way to kill themselves, such as searching online for materials or content. If you go into the search history, it has been found that they've been looking for ways, because killing one's self or taking away one's life is not an easy task. Yes, but you can understand the level of desperation that person has, that level of sadness the person has before the person takes away her or his life. So they'll be sleeping too much or they will not sleep at all. Yes, visiting or calling people to say goodbye. I'll share with you I feel awkward to even use the word case about a young boy who committed suicide and what he did. I'll just share with you in a moment. Giving away prized possessions. Le jao, take it. Maybe a pen which was very dear to him, he'll give away. Or if it's a girl, she will give away a nice outfit that she had. She will not keep. So these are all cry for help. Please understand these red flags. These are very, very important. Aggression for no reason. Family people, they don't understand why is she or he being so aggressive or, showing so much of irritability. Yes. And next is, of course, the mood. that they feel low, there is loss of interest, they are getting angry for no reason, irritability, anxiety, because understand depression comes with a lot of anger. I have seen it for myself. When they cannot make the other person understand, they become so angry that they slip into depression. So I'll just quickly give you the incident that happened with a very young boy who is a very high achiever and also a musician. I think he could play about 8 to 10 instruments just like that. He was so brilliant. And he jumped from the 13th floor of a building. Now, he was suffering from depression for a long time. But the family did not take him to a medical professional. So, in spite of being so brilliant, having a bright future ahead, he could not contain himself and he could not cope with his situation. Yes, and we lost that valuable life. So let us take a pledge that at least people who are around us, we will not lose any more lives. We'll ensure that they are safe, they are happy. We'll reach out to them and educate yourself. Know what are those things that you can tell them. Please do not tell them it's in your head or you are okay. No. Do some yoga, you'll be fine. Let's go out for a walk, you'll be fine. All that works when somebody is in a normal state of mind. And just to keep up to the level, we need to do those, of course. But when somebody is suffering from a diagnosed mental health problem, please reach out, give him help, whatever way you can. And they need to be connected to a mental health professional. Yeah.
So, having said that, a fundamental question comes: when should I seek help? How should I seek help? Whom should I seek help? So, someone has understood, or he would have shared, or it would not have been shared. So, these are the fundamental questions. So, from a doctor's and the mental health perspectives, when can I seek help, or when can I ask them to seek? When you see any of these symptoms like stress, anxiety, or depression, warning signs impacting his day-to-day functioning, even to a milder extent, where this is happening, this is hindering me to do my academics, this is happening where this is stopping me to even speak with my family in a pleasant way, this is happening where I'm not to myself anymore, I'm just being. So if you see there is a hindrance for your fundamental activities on a day-to-day basis, that is when you should reach out for help. Not necessarily a mental health professional also, but someone whom you feel you can share with, that I want to seek help. How? First, as Madam was saying, communication is the only thing you can do, nothing else. Just speak out. Where, whom? That, as I said, if there are mental health professionals in your campus, please do reach out, or even to the near dear ones is itself most of the time a big elevation where it's a string where you can just take the help and pull you out of this particular state. So fundamental concept. A lot of people ask, when should I say that, my friend, please go and speak? So that when your activities are becoming dysfunction, any dimension, personal, professional, physical, whatever. Right.
So, the next pertinent question, what do you do to help? Would anyone like to share something? What would you do to help? Students, especially. Sorry? Just a minute, just a minute. The mic is coming your way.
Hello. Ma'am, we all are from Sathi Counseling Cell of IIT Guwahati.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing we do is that we listen to the student who is having this problem and try to understand what is the problem. And then we will speak to the counselors and go to them.
Perfect. Big round for him. Yes. Thank you very much. So, the first rule is be present and listen. When I say listen, I'm talking about active listening. How many of you are aware of active listening? We are always listening. We are always listening to people. But what is the difference between active listening? Any idea? When? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. When? Just a minute. The mic, please.
It's about making them feel they are understood, that they are empathized.
Exactly. So they feel that whatever they are telling us, we are actually listening and trying to put ourselves in their shoes. Yeah, that is very, very important. The moment you do this, you put that person at ease. Otherwise, that person you have to understand is helpless at this point of time. The person doesn't know where to go, whom to talk to. The student cannot talk to the parents. Maybe there is a relationship issue. So, parents will scream, shout, do whatever. So, that is not the case. So, now they want to speak to friends. It's not easy because there is a confidentiality issue in that, right? So, if you are the one friend who's trying to help him, please listen. To you, it might sound, what is he talking about? This can be an issue, but please understand, for him it is, or for her it is. Yes? Next, be mindful of your words, as I said. Be careful of what you say. Don't say things to make him more weak or make him disempowered. All right? Acknowledge their feelings. If the friend says, I don't want to go out, I don't want to go for a movie, or I don't feel like talking to anybody, please acknowledge. Don't say all this is in your mind. Yes? Physical activity is, in general, a very good way of, dealing with these kind of mental health problems, or in general. Please have a routine, or rather develop a habit of doing some kind of physical activity. It could be walking, jogging, hitting the gym, whatever. But some physical activity is very important for your mental well being in general. Share your own struggles if you feel comfortable. Now, let me tell you, when people come to me, because I deal mostly with adults, so a lot of women and young boys and girls come to me, and it's very important that I share my struggles with them as well. I can't project myself as someone who has no problems or who's solved all her life problems and I am the best. So I also share my own areas of problems and struggles that I have gone through and how I have dealt with it. Okay, that makes the person feel at ease that, okay, then I'm not one alien who has come to ma'am to speak about my problems. Understood? So, like just the other day, a lady came with a lot of anxiety issue. Why? Because her eldest daughter has got married. She's staying away. Now, the younger one is going abroad to study. So, the empty nest syndrome has hit. And so, she is under a severe anxiety attack. And the first thing I told her is, do you know how many children I have? She said, Nahi, ma'am. So I said, I have one daughter. I said, do you know where she stays? She said, Nahi, ma'am. She lives in a country far away. And I'm the mother. So the moment I said this, I could see a spark on her face. That means what? I am not alone in this. There's somebody else also going through this. And then, of course, the conversation went. So please share your own struggles and suggest professional help. There's another word written below, gently. Don't go and tell them, no, 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 chalo, 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 Abhi, you have to come now with us. Come, let's go see a doctor. Don't say that. So, somewhere you also need to understand the basics of counseling. Of course, in our country, the awareness has started setting in, and I'm very happy with the young people. Let me tell you, I'm for young people. Because how they think, we did not think when we were young. So, with you, all Gen Zs, I can completely understand your predicament and your point of view. But as I said, suggest them very gently. Because the responsibility is yours too. As I said, to save the lives who are around us. Yeah? Thank you.
A small word on this physical activity from a doctor's perspective. See, sir, there is something called as neuropill. Okay, neuropill is nothing but how many connections a neuron, brain is made of neurons, will make with other neurons. The more the connections, the better the individual when it comes to cognition, mood, mental, whatever. So, the study goes this way. Physical activity is an instant relief. Let it be suicidal, depression, anxieties. So, physical activity, because Gen Z is what we are seeing in these young kids is, doctor, you ask me to come for 6 sessions of counseling. I'll come for 1 or 2 and then I don't feel like. Doctor, you give me a medicine. I don't prefer to, I miss the medicine. So, instant reliefs are very important. I'm not looking it in a different dimension, but still. So, because you said you have a community, even for some other government talks, I was suggesting it. There was something called suicide points we see a lot of places, right? Where common. So what I was suggesting them is to just put a kind of a drum with something. Okay. What happens in these people? They're very impulsive at that point of time. Let them divert those impulsive behaviors into something more physical. So that helps for a distraction as well. Try to just increase some kind of a stress relief there. But when it comes to the day-to-day functioning as well, I personally tell my students, don't plan something. If you are in that bad state of mind, I have to hit the gym from 9 to 9:30 every day. No, that is not going to work. On your way back from your department, just run and go to your room. Just run and go to your room. So a small elements of physical activity would really a big changer that improves the neuropill. So this is the study which has been done. So next side is very important when it comes to we as mental health professionals will usually come across this. Why don't they seek help? We know we are not in a good shape, but what are the barricades? Fundamental thing, stigma or fear of judgment. Oh my God, I'll be perceived as a weak person. I should never get anxious. Why should I'm a topper? Why should I get anxious? So stigma or fear of judgment. Concerns about confidentiality. Where, oh my God, what if I get noted in an organization? Whether that would reflect when I get a placement. Or what if my mother and father come to know about it? Or what if my brothers and friends come to know about it? Concerns about the confidentiality and how can I open up to some unknown person? Feeling nothing is going to change. Lot of times when we interview with the students, they'll say the same thing, doctor. You'll say something and I feel nothing is going to change. That pessimistic view about their own mental health. The other two factors.
Okay. Another very important reason for not seeking help is I should handle it myself mentality. I have hit the IIT. I fall into that category of student who is considered the most intelligent. In that strata, I belong. So How come that I cannot handle this? Every information is there in the Google. I just need to read it up. I have dealt with a lot of students from IIMs, and I know for sure why they delay in coming to people like us, because they actually think that way, that it's a defeat on their part. Initially they think that I should be able to handle it. How come I can't? Yeah. And of course, lack of awareness is something which is very, very basic, that we still need to know a lot more about mental health. We are becoming aware of small terms like anxiety and depression, but this is a sea where we really need to dive in. We've not even hit the tip of the iceberg. The other part, 9 parts of the iceberg is still down. So this awareness is very, very important. And in order to create that awareness, we have we have plans. Let's see how you people accept that. So certain, again, general suggestions for all of you. Practice regular exercise, as Dr. Bhargav said. Any form of exercise will help you fire the neurons in your brain. Relaxation techniques. There are many ways of relaxing. The easiest ones, of course, are practicing yoga, practicing some kind of grounding technique, some kind of music therapy. There are a lot of ways to relax your mind. And there is no one size fits all. What relaxes you might stress out somebody else. So find what is that one thing that relaxes you. Some people find it very relaxing to journal. And there are some people who cannot do that. It's very stressful for them. Some people find it relaxing to doodle or, drawing Zentangles. How many of you are aware of Zentangles? You must be knowing Zentangles, no? Wherein you just draw random designs and then sit and color them. Or mandala art. Then there is, of course, that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Yeah, all these are relaxation techniques. So these are very basic techniques that we all should be aware of and practice. Even if you are practicing any 2 of them is good enough. Just in order to keep our mental health at an optimum level. And there is never a state in any of our lives where we can say, I'm perfect. It's a constant journey. I won't use the word struggle, but it's an ongoing journey where we are all a part of. Okay. So, and the last one, as you see, is written, create a smile community. Can you figure out what is this smile community, especially students? What could be a smile community? Anything? Girls?
I've already projected this slide.
Okay. So he helped you out. So
this is
So,
a small
yes.
initiative we were designing actually for the students. In fact, we suggested few other places. So as I said, nice that one of the student was mentioning about Sathi community which you have here. But as I said, the problem is going much more deep and complex, where it has to go to a level of evaluation and addressing it. So this smile initiative is students mental health initiative for learning and evaluation. So we try to make the path a little more easier for them to just get the problems addressed in a better way and a far faster pace. And
Yes, so as Doctor explained, that this is a community that we are going to, or rather, we are suggesting you to create. How many of you agree to this kind of a community, having a community like this in your campus? Would you or would you not? Yes, I can see hands up. Okay. So in this smile community, there will be different initiatives. Yes, sir, you wanted to say something.
I think you're answering my question already. I wanted to know how different is it going to be from Sati or other available resources for them.
Okay, now this is something that we have designed specially for your campus. For now, it is designed specially for IIT Guwahati. Now it is up to you to accept it. Now, so here, as doctor said, that of course it's students' mental health initiative. Up to that we can understand. But you see, the last two parts is for learning and evaluation. So learning comes, that means what? We will be making you aware from time to time about the mental health issues and other mental health areas which needs to be addressed, like we addressed depression and anxiety today. There are many other problems that students face, so we'll do that and also be able to evaluate, because unless there is a system of evaluation, we cannot be only basing ourselves on subjective notions. Okay, so we will use a scientific method to evaluate, and you will see that I'm sure many of you have already got the Google form, right? In order to evaluate, yes.
So even the evaluations, we would prefer it to be more confidential so that it would be one-to-one kind of a help. Okay. So not stopping at the level of sharing, but progressing, taking it forward to evaluate and manage yourself into a better shape. So that is the whole point of one more suggestion or one more initiative we were suggesting is about something called as relaxation booths. See, this is a concept in certain multinational companies which we are seeing. They'll have a small booth kind of a place where a person can just enter. They'll put some kind of relax. It might be a music or it might be a word, or they're also installing some kind of phones where you can just call and speak or you can hear. So this booth is a small space to relax. It's not just to relax, it's more or less for you if you're getting disturbed or impulsive or anything. It's a safe space where you have a lot of options to choose to seek help immediately. Very simple. So you word on this.
Yes, so basically, as doctor said, this will be a relaxation booth wherein we'll try and see the efficacy of it and how it can be implemented. The idea is that when somebody is feeling distressed, they just walk into the booth, sit there for some time. There may be a recorded musical program which is guided. So they go through that guided journey for 5 to 6 minutes and feel good. Or, as doctor suggested, there could be somebody on call whom you can call and speak to. So we will try work out the intricacies of this whole system once it is we are ready to go. And the third area is having visual cues. Now, what I mean by visual cues is that at certain strategic points in your campus, it could be in your hostels or in your departments, we will put up certain posters which are with positive thoughts. So when you walk in to your hostel at the end of the day, tired or burdened with the assignment in your mind, when you go through these visual posters, it will help you. Or inside the department, which will have positive quotes, positive thoughts, just to act as a reminder.
This
Right?
also have a medical kind of thing. See, so most of the times we see this helplines. We like call this number if you're feeling suicidal, call this for help. So understand a small point where a lot of organizations miss is you have to prime them. Priming is nothing but sensitizing them with certain concepts first, so that then they'll see, I'm feeling suicidal, I see a number, then most of the times I might or might not call. So what I'm trying to say is priming them is very important. The visual cues, whatever it's not which is there in the slide, but anything for that matter, where a student just sees that on everyday basis, there is certain dimension like this where I can think about it. priming is very important, which would lead them to seek help. Do you agree with me? Right? Yes, sir,
Yes,
please.
yes.
See, visual cues or reminders, or suppose you see this poster in the corner of your mess, somewhere where there is a hand wash area before you enter into your exam or your lab, wherever. So, priming is a concept where, see, think about your mental health on a day-to-day basis. So, you can see mental health reminders, rest when you need to. So, the student would, okay, fine, I think this is a reminder for him to say there is a mental health perspective and you can think about it. That doesn't right away say like don't feel anxious, don't feel so. It's not that indirect cues or camouflaged dialogues where they can sense it and kind of think about that dimension. So in case that gives them a, I would say, like more clarity about their mental health dimension. So if there is an issue, they can get it addressed. So you got it?
The content of the poster will be like these reminders, no?
Anything, general
In general,
statements.
these
We are
things.
priming them. You have a mental health
Mm.
dimension, dears, and you have to take care of it.
Because this year we have implemented one thing,
Hmm?
that we had installed the poster in all first year students' rooms, which are having the codes and the counselor number and all the information so that they can seek to the help. So we have done this thing. Just I want to know that what can be the best content we can provide in the poster.
Yes, so we are still, this is work in progress. So we are still coming up with the content. And once you agree to having this kind of a visual cues, we will provide you with various kinds of contents, which is uplifting for the mind and all, or positive.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. You are all okay. The sir wants to say something. Yes, sir.
So while seeing the previous slide, yeah, it may appear to be something just as a reminder. But to understand this, as they say, if you have to know more about Mahabharata or any epic, you need to be in that mindset. So for Arjuna to understand Mahabharata, you have to be in Arjuna's mindset. Similarly here, the person who's actually affected by it will realize, suppose he's sleep deprived, the first one will hit him very badly. Rest when you need to. That will be very apt for him. So each one of those things will be apt for the situation that you are in, and that will help them a lot. It may just appear as a poster there, but it makes a lot of sense to the person concerned. That's the take home point.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So you all have received the Google form? Yes? Have they, sir? Have you all? I'm asking the students. Have you all received? Yes. So we'll just quickly take you through the Google Forms, especially those of you who are attending this session online, that if you have still not filled the form, please do it.
So we'll display the slide for 2 minutes
Yeah.
so that we can,
So,
even now, if you have not done, you can right away
maybe I
scroll
will
it.
run you through the questions like feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge. There are 4 options: not at all, several days, more than half the days, nearly every day. So you just put a tick on whichever box is appropriate. That way, keep going, not being able to stop or control worrying. Again, same options. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. Worrying too much about different things. Again, same options, not at all, several days, more than the days, more than half the days, and nearly every day. Trouble relaxing, being so restless that it is hard to sit still. You saw in the video, right? That girl could not sit still. Becoming easily annoyed or irritable, feeling afraid as if something awful might happen. Then, once you have ticked in the boxes, you just add them up and you find the total and then do the column totals and you get a total score. So, that is all that you need to do. So, and from the score, it's kind of a self assessment for all of you. So it's not necessary that you come to us or seek help from any professional. It is basically a self assessment. And after doing it, if you feel that you are wanting to talk to any of us, feel free. You can come down post lunch. We will be sitting just to talk to you. And understand, this is going to be kept anonymous. So we are not sharing this information even with your institute. All right? So it's completely confidential. Then there is another questionnaire to understand depression, whether you are depressed or not. Again, little interest or pleasure in doing things. Again, four options like the previous slide: not at all, several days, more than half the days, nearly every day. So you just need to put a tick in the box. Feeling down, depressed, or hopeless. Trouble falling or staying asleep or sleeping too much. Feeling tired or having little energy. Poor appetite or overeating. Feeling bad about yourself or that you are a failure and have let yourself or your family down. Okay, then trouble concentrating on things such as reading the newspaper or watching television, moving or speaking so slowly that other people could have noticed, or the opposite, being so fighty or restless that you have been moving around a lot more than usual. And the last question: thoughts that you would be better off dead or of hurting yourself. So, if any of you just need to again tick the boxes and then add up the columns and get the total. And I repeat, it is for self assessment. And still, if you want us to help you or come and talk to us, feel free. We are there in the afternoon and we'll be there to speak to you. Okay. So, thank you very much for attending our session today. And please understand that there is hope at the end of the tunnel. So, it's okay if we are not feeling too good at this point of time, but it's just one step away to feel better. And any questions from any of you? Yes, ma'am, please.
Some questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate this. I have two questions. One is like when the symptoms are being observed, whether it's for the anxiety or for the depression. And then obviously, I think one option which has been laid down is to seek a professional help. Right. So we all now know that professional help, we have three different layers. We have a psychiatrist, we have a psychologist, and then we have the counselor.
Mm-hmm.
So how should one decide about it, either for themselves or for their loved ones, whoever is going through this phase, that whom should to be approached for?
Right, madam. See, actually, there is no hard and fast rule that you should approach. Fundamentally, what happens is, taking the practical possibilities, we'll say the counselor would be the first point of contact. It might be, counselor can be any one of us, like the next friend of mine or who. So then when what I as a doctor tell to my team of psychologists and counselors is, see, probably when the severity of the symptoms are very high, that is the time when you have to get to the doctors. It's not like if it is low, you should not get to the doctors. So probably most of the times when the severity of symptoms are manageable and want to get it, I think that is counselors and psychologists would be the better people to start with. And second thing, when it comes to doctor also, there is a stigma more than any, say I can speak with a counselor, but I will not enter into a doctor's room because, and you know about the medicines, psychiatric medicines, oh my God, there is a big, no person, if I give it to my dad, like, dad, you're getting more angry, please take a pill, he'll say, shut up, I know what to do. Okay, see, very important. So I think what we face as doctors is, I would say, like, see, you guys assess if the symptom severity is very high, and then probably, as madam was saying, gently pull them to the psychiatrist, where we would have to work on them. It's not just every psychiatric patient, I mean, every patient who walks into a chamber will have a medicine. So what approach we do is we also encourage them to do things more naturally, and we'll reassure them. So say this might help you for a few minutes. It's like yesterday also I was telling one of us, the simple thing is, if you have gastritis, will you go and do endoscopy? You'll not do. One day gastritis, second day gastritis, you walk, you sleep, you drive, gastritis. Will you think of something? Yes, madam. That is simple rule. Simple rule, right? When you have to meet the doctor. So then you cannot say that. Out of another example I can give is a lot of patients come to me, doctor, I'm feeling suicidal. So I say, see, buddy, you have this options. I feel so no, I want to try without medicines. Why? So I'll say a small example there. Suppose we all have diabetics in our houses, right? So diabetes is 600, 400 levels, hands are trembling, giddy. Okay, what would you suggest? To go to a dietitian and a yoga therapist? No, why? That is not an option. There are options. There are even, but the symptoms are so severe. First, a symptomatic relief is very important for me to even sit before a yoga therapist. So the symptomatic relief, when I'm using the word, the symptoms are so severe that, as I said, it is impacting my functioning. So that is the right way we can segregate the dear ones when to seek help. And it's like, that's what. Then once you symptomatically get better, please attend the sessions, get into some natural things, which helps you to maintain that normalcy. So the doctor will stop the medicines in a month or two, sometimes even little more earlier. So this is what I can. Uh,
Yeah.
The other question was, I think you listed out some of the psychological factors which accounts for the anxiety and the depression, and I do see that genetic was one of the factor there. I think for all other factors, there could be the remedy and definitely a mitigation to reduce that. And I think over the period of time, that could take care of it. But what to do with regard to the
Very
genetical
important question,
factors?
madam. See, do I fundamentally every one of us, we have families here. We have someone who is psychologically little. It might be anxiety, depression, whatever it is. Do we agree with that, madam?
Yes.
Yes, every one of us. There is no family like without diabetes. There is no family without anxiety or stress or depression. Very important. So the same question, doctor, I'm depressed. My son will get depressed. So there is a concept, madam. Genes, they have a specific way. There is something called as gene expression. So there is another concept of nature versus nurture. So what happens is you might be having a gene of depression, but if you make sure the environment is more supportive, the expression might not happen. So what I tell is, don't panic about having a genetical loading, but don't allow that genes to express by maintaining a very important thing called as lifestyle, where our doctor is going to speak coming. So this is the concept. Don't have to worry. Yes, that is a area of concern. We don't disagree with this, but there is an antidote which you can as well give, not to express those genes. Very important.
Any more questions?
There's something called Maslow's principles, where it says that you have to focus on things that you can change and don't focus on things that you can't change also. That's one answer for that. Second, there is something called epigenetics. So genetics is, yes, if you have an ambassador car, you can't make it a Boeing 707 or something, but you can make it as a best ambassador car. Let's focus on things that we can really change and make an impact on that. Genetics, a lot of things are going on, but not necessarily just because a father is depressed, his son has to be depressed. Son can be maniac also.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yes, madam. Actually, one of my student in previous institute where I used to work earlier. So we, as a collectively, as a department, we knew that he is one of the best, not only a student but also a human being. And then when we saw him into problem, then we felt sad. And then, as you rightly pointed out, most of us suggested that it is nothing. अच्छे से दबा के खाओ सब ठीक हो
Mm,
जाएगा.
mm,
But two professor suggested that बेटा मेरे बेटे को भी ऐसे हुआ था. I would like to take you to this place. Would you like to come? He immediately said yes.
mm,
And then after that, it was found that he is clinically depressed
mm,
for almost, according to doctor evaluation, more than 3 years. And then doctor says that maybe another trigger, he would have been into something which will be irreversible, or it will take time. Then doctor started medication. And the medication, doctor immediately said at least for 3 years.
mm,
And then that student says that iska to side effect hoga. And then he contacted his parents. Parents also was much worried. नहीं ये तो माथा खराब कर देगा. मेरा बेटा इतना ब्रिलियंट है. वो एक बार पढ़ के सब याद रखते हैं. अभी ये पढ़ के भी याद नहीं. Different kind of things started coming. Why I'm asking this thing? There is a very serious taboo also, because nobody clarifies it, that whether if somebody takes for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or even say beyond 3 years this kind of medicine, is there any kind of severe side effect which is I mean the benefits actually goes down. So
So very important questions. See, two things. We call all these medicines as neuromodulators. We'll call them as neuromodulators. Okay. So fundamental question is there is nothing like you have to take it for years except for certain severe forms of psychological illness like schizophrenia or bipolar where there'll be a long uh, but otherwise neurotic things like normal depressions and anxieties few months or even sometimes that might end up in few weeks also. There's nothing left like long you have to take. Second thing is side effects, sir. Fundamental thing is yes, I do agree every chemical which suppose I ask my patients when they come like doctor, I am taking 5 cigarettes per day and I am taking 2 pints of alcohol. You're giving me something not to stop this, whether I'll get any side effect. See, you're not worried about 5 cigarettes, you're not worried about 2 pins of alcohol, you're just worried about a small pill. And even for that matter, depression. I don't take a proper lifestyle, I just eat junk, I eat all these things which just comes in my way. And I guess, buddy, you're in anxiety and depressed, please take this for a while, a small pill. Doctor, what is the side effect? So understand this question. I would say ask everyone like, what did you have last night? Rice, something they'll say. Most of them would say rice. What are the side effects of rice? They'll say diabetes, hypertension. What happens then? My kidneys will go, my heart would go. Then what happens? I'll die. Literally, side effects of white rice is you die. Are we taking it? Simple logic. So we should understand this. So that's the way we have to explain these families to the family or the patient. See, it is a chemical which helps you to promote something which is deficient in this particular. That is why I use the word depression, anxiety, stress is not philosophy. It's biology. You can have it. I can have it. The other person can have it. That doesn't matter you're educated, not educated, you're bureaucrat or prime minister. No, you can have it, I can have it. It is a disease of mind. So that is where we make it's like you get typhoid, you will not go to the doctor and say, doctor, please treat me without a medicine. You have to. There is a course for it, there is an evidence for that, what it does. So that's, as you said, it's a big taboo. Even as I said, it runs in my own family. So we're not we have to be little. I think I would also request most of the seminars doctors to re-emphasize when you give a pill, just tell certain valid examples to the people so that they'll understand what it is. And it's a very wrong thing that you have to take these medicines for. I got cases where a guy came and said, doctor, I am not married. I said, why? I am on psychiatric pills. So my one of my people says you should marry a girl who is on psychiatric pills. I said, so what's that is the range of as you say myths or you call ignorance, whatever it ranges from this to that. We don't know, and it's more among even educated because. So I think reassuring and explaining them would really, but fundamentally, I'm telling you, psychiatric pills, except for certain severe issues, nothing like years together of a pill. It's only few weeks to months. Very simple. And as I say, neuromodulators, they'll rechange your neural dynamics to a better shapes. That's it.
Just on a lighter vein,
Sir.
the other thing is also true. People think if their child is having a psychological issue, getting them married will also relieve them. I think the theory may be correct because sometimes, because they may not be having any problem, that may be the problem. So once you put up a problem, then they will be better. That may also be a way. So we can keep saying this because I can understand all those who are laughing are all married. All those who are going to get married, beware of it.
So, students, one last thing from you.
आई हैव वन बेसिक क्वेश्चन। जैसे मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में पूछता हूँ ज़्यादा सही रहेगा
ठीक चलिए।
कि जैसे मैम हम लोग जैसे बहुत सारे जो आईआईटी गुवाहाटी के केसेस हैं उनसे बात करते हैं, स्टूडेंट्स की प्रॉब्लम को समझते हैं, फिर उनको काउंसलर तक ले जाते हैं, कई बार काफ़ी टाइम तक बातें करते हैं, तो वो हमें भी अफेक्ट करती है, मतलब हमारी टीम को भी अफेक्ट करती है। और कभी कभी हम बैठ के आपस में भी डिस्कस करते हैं कि यार उसके साथ ऐसा हुआ, उसके साथ वैसा हुआ। फिर जब हम रात में सोने गए अपने रूम में तो हमें भी कहीं ना कहीं वो बातें आती हैं। तो और आपके साथ भी सेम केसेस हैं, आप भी सेम चीज़ टैकल करते हैं, तो आप लोग खुद पे कैसे काम करते हैं, तो और हम कैसे खुद पे काम कर सकते हैं? व्हाट प्रॉब्लम वी आर फेसिंग ऑन द ग्राउंड?
Let us first give him a big round of applause for asking this question, because many a time, even many of my patients come and tell me, ma'am, whom do you go to? Because none of us are, immune and sanitized from this area. Yes, and a very pertinent question. As mental health professionals, we, because we are trained, the first training was how to protect our own selves. So we are trained to do that. There are certain practices that we do in order to keep ourselves away so that it does not come here. That doesn't mean that we don't empathize or we are not trying to understand that person's problems, but we, in order to safeguard ourselves for the betterment of many other people, there are certain practices which all of us use. Now, this varies from person to person. For me, it is one. For doctor will be something else. But we will certainly do something in order to create a shield so that we ourselves do not get affected. Think of the surgeon who is cutting the stomach open every night or every morning. So he is seeing so much of blood. Ask him to operate his own child, he will not. So there is a way. Does that mean that he is heartless? No. So there is something called professionalism. So this is our profession. So we take it as a profession and we know how to help ourselves. The issue with, as you said, आप जैसे लोगों के साथ जो प्रॉब्लम होता है, ये होता है कि आप ट्रेन नहीं है इसमें, आप दिल से कर रहे हैं, आप सबको हेल्प करने के लिए कर रहे हैं, बट आपको किसी ने ट्रेन नहीं किया कि कैसे खुद को संभाला जाए। क्योंकि कोविड के टाइम में मैं एक ग्रुप के साथ काम कर रही थी इन कोलकाता, और जो लोग कोविड पेशेंट्स, यंग ग्रुप of boys and girls who were helping COVID patients. It happened. और एक दिन हमको किसी ने बुलाया to take a session with those workers, with those helpers, कि they are going depressed.
They were literally crying throughout.
Yes, they were finding it very difficult. They could not sleep, they could not eat, they were so disturbed. So ये होता है, मैं समझ सकती हूँ आपके बात, लेकिन ऐसा करने से पहले ये बहुत अच्छा इच्छा है एक, लेकिन थोड़ा बहुत कोई भी मेंटल हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल हो या कहीं से भी थोड़ा बहुत ट्रेनिंग लिया कीजिए कि कैसे हम एक सीमा रेखा मेरे सामने रखें। Thank you.
See, emotional cleansing, frequent periodic emotional cleansing is very much important for the therapy givers actually. So we say we in fact have some communities for the psychiatrists and for the therapists
Yes.
to just do that right there.
Yeah.
So any more doubts, sir?
I think. Oh, sir. There.
So that is the one way of growing up ourselves, how to keep professional versus personal, keeping a nice line of drawing, not to mix each other.
Mm.
Of course, we see through many things, but then don't take it personally. Will help you to move forward.
Mm.
If you take a personal too much like influence, then it damages to go back yourself. So these two probably those who are helping students to the other students have to keep a line of it, but it won't come immediately. So many people ask me a question that, are you not affected? I said, it won't, because that's what my father says, do these two differences. You keep yourself good all the time.
Thank you, sir. So I
So
think.
yeah, so I think any more doubts, sir? We will. Uh, so
So you said that when you talk to the other person, you can have empathy, right? It's working, no? So when you're dealing with a person, whoever it is, right, you look at it at the empathy point of view. But generally, what happens is a more of a blame game. I mean, such and such person did something, and that's why I'm depressed. So now let us say that person, whoever they are referring to, you have a different perspective to what the person you're dealing with. You understood, right? The person is depressed, but you don't agree with him.
Mm.
It has
Mm.
happened quite a
Mm.
lot
Mm.
actually because I'm a faculty, so over a period of time, so somebody comes and says X, right, and I don't really agree with him,
Mm.
but because X has got depressed,
Mm.
or I can feel that he's frustrated.
Mm.
So how do we deal with that? Because at that point, taking empathy would mean that siding him, and as you say, you cannot say, okay, go to the counselor, right? So when you feel that there is a slight, I mean, this really happens everywhere. I mean, I'm sure even in the professionals, everything, right? Because people who are not happy, they always try to put the blame on somebody else. So how do we deal with that?
Yes. So, yes, I can understand from you where you are coming from. Let's say you're a teacher, right? Or a faculty member. So basically, that's your profession, to teach your students. Okay. So you as a teacher will have your limitations in understanding the mental health condition of a student. You will understand up to a level, but then after that it will be difficult. That's why I understand where you're coming from. For us, it's a very different ball game altogether, because being mental health professionals, we are much more open. So for us, the patient comes first. So the person, when they come and speak to us, for us, we first believe in that person. And if we find that logically that person is incorrect, we know how to put it across from a different way so that the person is not hurt. But for you, it is not possible, sir. Because yeah, because then you have to make yourself more aware of how to handle students with issues. But of course, the whatever is correct as a teacher, and whatever is wrong as a teacher. So you have to stick to your area and your point. Say if a student is not studying or not submitting the assignments on time, of course you can't go and tell him, okay, it's okay, I can understand. For you, it's a rule that on such and such date the assignments need to be submitted, and you'll stick to that.
so the I would like to add something. So when it is like you're saying about a human transaction, like where someone is blaming me for, like when I say something is just backfiring on me, kind. So sir, when such situations happen, what I would say is, if you feel that you are a step ahead cognitively compared to that person, okay, I think that there's nothing wrong in taking yourself back sometimes. That's the first fundamental, because you claim you're cognitively better than the other person's thinking. That's fine. Don't have to come to his level of understanding and uplift him. Say, just fine, buddy, you think in that dimension, but I can think a step So that gives you space fundamentally to organize your behaviors or your thoughts or your feelings there, which sometimes might help you or even guide the other person in a better way rather than going head on. Fundamental approach.
So, okay, this I think will be the last
Last
question
question, yes.
because there is another speaker.
Mm.
Yes.
So as a teacher, we are feeling that students are not coming in the class. I mean, this global, I mean, last 13 years I am observing at the beginning when I worked here, I joined here. So the ratio of the students, that is day by day decreasing. So is there any way to bring them, because interaction is important. If they will interact, they will come, they will learn, their grade will improve and everything will go up. But they are not coming, so how to handle this
Sir,
kind
see,
of
fundamental psychology behind it, I'll say, when you see an young chap, like, as you said, generations apart, if it is stimulating, if it is stimulating enough, they'll come. They want that stimulus because of this. As I said, no, the biologically also the brains have been evolved. So there is a recent study, sir, which says every decade there will be a 10 points, few points raise in the IQ for this. Suppose you have certain IQ at 18 years, your son would have little more IQ at 18 years than what you were at 18. Understand this. So what happens is making lectures more stimulated rather than routine forms of lectures would be an answer for this, so that the more they feel the stimulation is nothing but a reward where it just strikes your dopamine. Okay,
Correct.
fine, that's more interesting to me. That is a way I think probably you can reshape your lectures, or sometimes even that rewarding techniques which you can use in this. While that also, these are the answers for, because the generation, as you said, that probably there are concepts where why they are
Yes.
getting into all this instant. So I think fundamentally the better it is when it comes to their the interest part of it, or that would pull the students inside rather than the routine monotonous lectures which
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I'm always on the side of students. So I would say I try and understand why students feel that way or behave that way. And only when you start thinking and keeping yourself in the place of a student will you be able to understand the way out. So these days we are dealing with Gen Zs. And Gen Zs are all for freedom, all for autonomy. You can't bind them. So you'll find even in corporates these days, there's a lot of high attrition rate because they don't care. They don't care. Yesterday, I met a lady in the aircraft, and she was telling me she runs a business and she's taking care of the HR. And she said, "Ma'am, for just a difference of 5,000 rupees, my staff leaves me and goes." I said, "Yes, that will be the case. Because today's children, I still call you all children, they think differently. It's not that they think wrongly. There is a difference. They think differently. So we as adults, and as doctor was saying, that if we claim that we are cognitively more at a higher level than them, we need to unlearn certain things that we learned. So gone are those days when teaching was, taught in a certain way. Today, I think we all need to find out innovative ways to keep the class engaged. And I'm sure once we put that effort, the result will be fantastic. Thank you. So,
I have been teaching. I've been a professor for dermatology. At my profession, yes, I could put a lot of medical jokes into whatever I was doing. So end of the day, the message will be along with the joke. I don't know how much you could do it in IT, but when I meet my students later, they all remember my jokes very well. With the joke, they connect with the material. So jokes are also very, very important. You need to keep the class lively. Human mind cannot process too long for any of the statistics or anything that you're putting up there. It should be in such a way that 20 minutes, beyond 20 minutes, you can't, you get into fatigue if you focused. So you need to give a break. Similarly, you can't let a person sit down all through. That's one reason I was standing up so frequently also. So you need to stand up at least 1 minute. The next speaker will help you in all those
Right.
things.
I, I think we will end this session, and
Yes.
thank you all for the patient listening and beautiful, interesting questions rather than this. So now going forward, it's a very vital and a fundamentally important topic where our Dr. Ritusha, she's a lifestyle medicine specialist, would be enlightening us on something very interesting. Most of us are even sometimes unaware of something like that. So we are really eager to listen to this particular seminar, doctor, so that there is a new dimension of mind or life where that can even be addressed in a better way. So I would invite Dr. Ritusha for the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Hi.
Because the mic is there, even I can stand up.
Oh, you need.
I can help. No, I can help. No problem. You'll be at your ease. I can.
Very good morning to one and all gathered here. I feel extremely privileged and honored to be here standing in front of you in this auditorium. I had the same feeling when I entered IIT, the feeling I had when I had joined CMC Vellore as a postgraduate in lifestyle medicine. I had butterflies in my stomach because I think most of us, when we grow up, still there's the mentality people say you're an engineer or a doctor. Fortunately, I did medicine, but I could enter IIT and enlighten you all with some small tips and practical tricks to hack your health. Thank you everyone for this opportunity. I welcome you all, both online and offline, all the candidates who have joined here. Thank you so much. I hope you take some practical points from this lecture and implement in your lives. So, I am Dr. Ritusha. After I completed my MBBS, I got certified in lifestyle medicine by the European board. I did my nutrition science and studies in gut health from Stanford. And now I am a postgraduate in CMC Vellore in a postgraduate diploma course in lifestyle medicine. The topic for today I have chosen is From Gut to Greatness. It's about lifestyle medicine. I want this session to be as interactive as possible. Can anyone here, the students here, tell me what lifestyle medicine means to you?
It may be the medicines which are used in day-to-day life, which can help us to improve in certain aspects.
Exactly. But the medicine here refers not literally to the tablets. Although it is a subspecialty of allopathy, the medications or surgical field doesn't come under lifestyle medicine. So medications are concerned as an adjunct to the lifestyle modifications. Usually, if you go to a doctor with diabetes or hypertension, they first write the drugs and probably they will not mention drink so much water or do so much exercise. On the prescription, lifestyle modifications, most of the doctors do not mention, but this specialty is concerned with giving prior importance, and the primary significance is to give you lifestyle modifications. And obviously we're not against the drugs, but when it is emergency, yes, it's the reverse. So to keep it simple, lifestyle medicine is the way we had our ancestors living. They used to eat on time, sleep on time, do some sort of physical activity. They did have stress, but they managed it better. And they were all living in joint families. There was no need for some online platform to connect to a new individual. Social connections was good. They were obviously away from whatever was harmful for them to some extent. It's just that in a way that will fit the modern era. So, lifestyle medicine is defined as an evidence based branch of medicine that focuses on preventing, treating, and even reversing Chronic diseases. By chronic diseases, I refer to the non-communicable or the non-infectious diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disorders, obesity, fatty liver, cancers. Many of these can be addressed through lifestyle medicine itself, and even you can expect for the disease to be reversed. No more you need to think like, if you're a diabetic, lifelong, you need to take tablets. Many of them who have been diabetics are under control and they've stopped tablets. It is possible. So don't fall into that notion. This field is relatively new in India, but it has been there for the past 19 years in the US. The American College of Lifestyle Medicine suggested 6 pillars. That is nutrition, where we focus on a whole food plant-based diet predominantly. Physical activity, which should be consistent. Good restorative sleep routine. Stress management techniques. Positive social connections. And avoidance of harmful substances. Here are some facts. First, I would like you all to know why I have picked this topic today. For that, I wanted to show you this particular pie chart, which shows the non-communicable diseases contribute to around 75% of deaths worldwide. Isn't that a big number? We all pay, interest towards all the infections and other diseases. But the NCDs alone contribute to 75% of the deaths, and it's the leading cause, which is expected by 2030. So research shows 80% of these chronic diseases can be prevented by lifestyle modifications alone. And through those lifestyle modifications, you don't just improve your health, but also wealth. Not because I'm telling the saying again, which you have all heard, health is wealth. It's because 90% of the economic burden in medicine is contributed to NCDs only. With that, let's start with an interesting quote. The food you eat can be the safest and most powerful form of medicine, or even the slowest form of poisoner. Nicely said quote by Dr. Ann. Let's start with the first pillar, nutrition. I would like you all to tell me some diets you're aware of. The fad diets, day in and day out, new diets keep coming up. Keto diet. Anything else? Only keto and paleo. I'm sure all of you would have Googled. Yes. The GM diet, Mediterranean diet. There is so many diets. And first thing many of the people want to know is which diet is best. Intermittent fasting or paleo or keto. Every day one new diet is coming to this world. But I am not here to support or oppose any particular diet because as madam was speaking for mental health, not one size fits all. The diet which is good for you today may not be the diet which will suit you tomorrow. There are so many factors. So I wanted to keep things simple and teach you the art of label reading. Another interesting quote, one of the most important thing about label reading is that you should avoid foods that have labels. Right? It's better you avoid foods with having labels. But is that practically possible? To a certain extent. You can have fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, lentils, okay. But we are in a situation where we definitely have to access packaged foods, at least in the form of spices. We buy bread. All our routine is grocery shopping and going to the markets to get the packaged foods. So at least let's choose wiser and be smart enough to read the labels and not be deceived by what we assume they contain. Next. Also be aware of low fat and natural that is present in many products. Okay, they are sometimes deceiving terms. Let's decode some nutrition facts. All of you, I request you to just look at the nutrition fact picture that I have projected there when I'm going through this slide. The first aspect to note in a nutrition fact label is the serving size. Many of us don't pay attention to this. We'll just look into the calories, fat, protein, okay, great. No. Serving size is extremely important because all the numericals in that particular picture depends on the serving size. And it is true that many of the products in the market today project a smaller serving size, which is not the ideal way we are consuming. Secondly, multiply the serving size, whatever numericals are there, with the number of servings which you have consumed, so that you're aware these are the number of calories or protein that you have taken. Next, look at the calories, macronutrients, and fiber content. So a simple tip to remember when reading the nutrition label is the 5-10 rule. Make sure there is 5% or less of daily value in saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars, but 10% or more in terms of dietary fiber, vitamins, and minerals. If the packet you're consuming follows the 5-10 rule and it's a thumbs up, yes, you're good to go. So these are some of the pictures I had clicked over the last couple of weeks. I love cooking. There is a new field, by the way, that is developing in medicine, in lifestyle medicine, known as culinary medicine. So that's about making recipes that are tasty and healthy. All of us tell eat healthy. The first point is, oh no, it's not tasty. How will I just keep eating healthy food? Once in a while is okay. No, it's not okay. So how do we make it okay? So this is all about that. And this one particular picture, I would like you all to see. What can you notice in this picture? The first picture to your left. What's striking you in that picture? Anything? Anything? Lots of fruits. Okay. So the point there is have a rainbow in your plate. That's what we call it. As many fruits, as many vegetable options as possible. Make a rainbow in your plate. You get all the phytonutrients and antioxidants in one shot. These will be brain foods, superfoods, and that's really good. So now let's decode the nutrition label in the next slide. That is going to be your first activity. These are the foods I received in the flight yesterday when I came to Guwahati. So I would like you all to look at these. I'll tell you what is the catching point I felt. The first was the vegetable hummus sandwich. Okay, we think fine, hummus, okay, vegan, protein, very good. It's looking brown in color. Wow, they've not given me maida bread. See how healthy. Just read that label. What does it say? Probably it might not be very visible. It says refined wheat flour, which is maida. It is brown color, but it is made of maida. Brown bread and wheat bread are not the same. Brown bread is maida bread that has been just added with caramelized sugar to give that color. No 100% wheat bread will be that brown. So this is why it's important to read at the nutrition label. And second, also the ingredients you need to read. The first ingredient that is mentioned in the nutrition label or the ingredients will be the ingredient that is present in the highest concentration in that particular food. It will be in the descending order. So make note of that. That is one in this particular photo. Second, this was a paper boat Amra's drink that they gave. What I would like to inform here is, first let's go for the positive aspect. That is added vitamin D2. It says the recommended dietary allowance percentage is 50%. All of us are predominantly vitamin D deficient. Even if you go take check your vitamin D levels, if you're not deficient also, you'll still not have sufficient amounts. So that is providing 50% good. But what about the sugars? It says added sugar 0. Added sugar 0. So is it good? Which is good? Tell me. Honey or brown sugar, normal sugar, cane, jaggery? Which do you think is good? Exactly. It is only going to be different till it reaches your tongue. It looks different, feels different, tastes different. After the tongue, it is all the same. It is ultimately sugar. It's going to be broken down into the same or similar monosaccharide by the same enzymes. And the total sugar here is 6.4 grams. Note the serving size 170 ml. That is the total quantity also of that packet. A very small packet. Just imagine 170 ml. And the facts are based on per 100 ml. So the sugars are 6.4 grams. So 170 ml, approximately just double it. So it's going to be around 12 grams of sugar. Did you know the recommended dietary allowance for a day to consume sugar is only 25 grams? So with this one packet, 50% over. What will you eat rest of the day? So that is what I wanted to tell. Next is a packet of makhana. Okay, very good. Makhana nuts are all being served in the flights now. It is a 12-gram packet, but the quantity of the label is per 25 grams. First thing in a packet like makhana or what we feel is a protein-rich food, we look at the protein. Okay, 2 grams. Okay, something I'm doing good today. Fine. But ultimately, that is for 25 grams and the serving size is only 12. So you will not be taking even 1 full gram of protein through that packet. And the sodium levels are so high. Okay. Now I would like you all to just remember one number. It is 2232. Okay. Don't ask me what it signifies. I'll tell you in the middle or probably towards the end. Just remind me about this number. You are what they eat. Who are they? We all have heard you are what you eat. I'm telling you, you are what they eat. They refers to the 100 trillion bacteria in the gut, termed as the gut microbiome. Just like I said, you are what they eat. Let me tell you, we are all more bacteria than we are human. Did you know why? Any idea how many cells we have in the human body? Anyone from the crowd? Approximately, just take a guess, random number. It's okay, you can be wrong. Any number. Yes. About a trillion. Okay. To be specific, there is 37 trillion human cells in our body, approximately. But there are 100 trillion microbes in the gut. So we are 2.5 times more than the number of cells we have in our body, right? So we are more bacteria than we are human. So we are what they eat. You feed them well, they look after you. I think they'll benefit you more than the person next to you in your entire life. They'll look after you better. Okay. So recent research shows that gut health is linked to conditions like obesity, diabetes, depression, and even Alzheimer's. A diverse and balanced microbiome contributes to a strong immune system, mental clarity, emotional regulation, and ultimately overall health. So some interesting facts. The first one we discussed. Okay, any one of you tell me, do identical twins have the same fingerprint or the different fingerprint? Different, right? But not just fingerprints are going to be unique to all of us. Gut microbiome is as unique. None of us here share the same makeup of the gut microbiome. It is influenced by genetics, but also by lifestyle modifications. Just like we discussed, genetics for a long time was a factor that is considered non-modifiable and still is. But there is something known as epigenetics, that is through lifestyle, you can also change the makeup of your gene. Third, 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. You would have heard serotonin is the feel-good hormone, how you feel, how your mood is regulated. And 90% of this serotonin, remember, is produced from your gut and not directly from your brain. 90% of it, it's a huge number. So make sure your gut is liking and given the food it wants so that you feel good. And about 70% of our immune system resides in the gut in the form of gut or mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. So those were some interesting facts. Next. Now that you have known why we are more bacteria than human and why you are all what they eat and some interesting facts, let's discuss on how to hack our gut health. First is probiotics and prebiotics. Can anyone tell me if you know the difference between a probiotic and a prebiotic? Anyone? Okay. A probiotic, for example, a yogurt or curd, Greek yogurt, which is the routine food we can all easily access, is a substance. If you read the package, you can see a particular bacterial strain mentioned. So that's a probiotic. It already has a good gut bacteria present in it. Whereas a prebiotic like banana, garlic, oats, sweet potato, all of these foods are substances that trigger good gut bacteria to be produced. So if you ask me, is probiotic better or prebiotic better? I'll mostly say both. But if you want to choose one among these two, on a day you rather would skip a breakfast, go for at least a cup of yogurt, Greek yogurt, with some fruits. That'll do good. And all the routine which we have heard in our families, limit processed foods, add fermented foods, avoid artificial sweeteners, all of that. It is really good that we have a system, be it in the north or south. In south, we consume idlis predominantly for our breakfast. It is fermented, it is an excellent food. Similarly, in Gujarat, they consume dokla. So, consuming fermented foods as much as possible is going to do wonders to your gut. Now, let's discuss one particular wonder drug. This drug reduces type 2 diabetes by 50%, heart disease by 30%, and hypertension by 25%. Anyone thinking something right now? Probably you may be thinking, if there is a wonder drug like this, why on earth are you giving us lecture about lifestyle modifications? Tell me the name of this particular drug. I'll note it down. I'll take it now or recommend the people in my family so that they prevent, treat, or reverse their disease. But the wonder drug is physical activity. There is no such wonder drug. The wonder drug only refers to physical activity. Physical activity is not important just for your bones or all the parts in your body that your orthopedician will deal with. It is your bone, brain, every cell in your body, your physical health, mental health, every part of it will be improved through physical activity. So I know all of you want to be high achievers. My only aim is to make you healthy and high achievers. So I felt if I tell you the connection between physical activity and brain, all those who are not as physically active may start today. Throughout my MBBS journey, I was told one cell in the body that does not regenerate or multiply, and if dead is dead forever, is a neuron. But recent studies has found out that neurogenesis is possible. The hippocampal region in your brain, which is very important for the way you think, etc., the neurons there can increase in number if you just do exercise. Exercise, any physical activity, sports, something you should do so that you move. Second, because of this, it will prevent you from mind fogging. You'll have more clarity, your decisions will be better. It also improves sleep, especially if you do some sort of physical activity in the second half of the day. It is going to help you improve sleep. And again, if you sleep better, you're going to get rejuvenated, your stress levels come down, your cognition improves. The same phenomenon. It's just a circle. Next slide. Now, for all those thinking about weight loss when I said the term physical activity or exercise, this is a quote I really love. Weight loss doesn't begin in the gym with a dumbbell. It only starts in your head with a decision. Isn't it interesting? And for all those who think they are fit, tell me, how do you think you're fit? Anyone? BMI. Most of people will tell, oh, my BMI is fine. I'm not thin. I'm not obese. I'm not overweight. Okay, I'm good. But there's something more important than BMI. I would request you all to just get an inch tape and measure your waist circumference. At the level of your umbilicus, just use an inch tape and check how much it measures. It should ideally be 80 centimeter or less for women and 90 centimeter or lesser for men. This is very important and most of us do not fall into this category. Central obesity is more dangerous than overall obesity. Okay. And the definition of a really good workout will be when you hate doing it but love finishing it. With that, I would like you to know the recommendation. This is just the least. I've clearly mentioned in bold at least 150 minutes of MIPA, that is moderate intensity physical activity per week. So, with that, you should actually ask me a question. What is moderate intensity? Exercise or anything for that matter, we usually say mild, moderate, vigorous, or severe. There is a very simple test known as the song test. When you do an exercise and you can sing comfortably, you're doing mild exercise or probably no exercise. If you can't sing, but you can still talk to the next person and you're comfortable, it is moderate. That is what I recommended 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity. If you can't talk as well, then it is vigorous. Okay, if you're able to do that very well, good. But there is something known as HIIT, which we call it as HIT, high intensity interval training. That is recommended these days, but not for the general public. Probably for high achievers in the field of sports, it's okay. Now, I'm sorry, but if all of you, I request if you can stand up for a minute, it'll be nice so that we practice what we preach. My Apple Watch has been ringing thrice till now from the time we started the session. It's time to stand up. But I felt it'll be very funny if I stand alone and then they'll be wondering whether I'm about to ask a question or something. So just 1 minute, stretch yourself, greet the person next to you. Probably may not be knowing who's sitting next to you as well. Greet the person next to you. Ideally, all of you should ask me now. You're telling us to stand up now. We are able to. What do we do in a flight or a situation where we can't do anything? Exactly what Sir did now. This is what I'll recommend most of the people to do. You can do that even when you're sitting. And that's going to do benefits, like literal wonders to your health. If you want to live longer, now longevity medicine is blooming up. Very simple tips. Physical activity, exercise, sleep on time, manage your stress better. Spend time more with your family and friends. Feel loved. Give love. That's it. You'll be living longer and healthy. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for cooperating. Yeah. Next. So, the third pillar we are going to be discussing about is sleep. At least those who felt sleepy, I hope they didn't, but if they felt sleepy, this exercise would have woken you up. And now let's discuss about sleep. The best bridge between despair and hope is a good night's sleep. Sleep is very, very important. One of the pillars that is least addressed by everyone, including medical professionals. But sometimes we can't do much about it, especially if you're on a night shift, a duty day, a 36 hours long shift. But slowly people have started to realize we should do something about it because many doctors today are dying post a 36-hour shift. In the recent newspaper, I read MCH, that is a super specialty student, died post a 36-hour shift. So it's very important we address this. So we'll discuss a little bit about sleep. Very simple stuff. The ideal amount of sleep an adult requires is 7 to 9 hours. And for a child, depending upon the age, it can go from 9 to 12 hours or even beyond. And with that being said, I know many of you are extremely active at nights. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to walk around the campus a little bit. You have a very huge campus, by the way. It's really nice. But yeah, you're making very good use of it in all ways. But probably the time in which you make use of it, utilize it, can be a little different. May I suggest you that? Because if you're sleeping from morning 2 to 9 a.m. on a weekend or differently on a weekday, it still is giving you 7 hours of sleep. But it's not helping your body as much because our body has biological clock, something called the circadian rhythm, which operates in a way where the hormones are timed to be produced and stopped at a particular way. Just like how you set your alarm clock. Your hormone starts secreting then and then it stops on itself. So if you change this pattern on situations where you can actually do something about it, please try to sleep on time, which is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Sleep not just restores your energy, it boosts your mood, improves cognitive function, and supports overall health. I'm not getting into depth about the phases of sleep, but I would like you all to just know there is something called REM and NREM sleep. REM is rapid eye movement and NREM is non-rapid eye movement sleep, both of which are equally important to get a proper sleep. You can read more about it yourselves, I feel. I don't want to go too much into the biological aspect. So some tips for better sleep. We need to keep the room as cozy as possible. The suggested ambient temperature is around 21 to 23 degrees Celsius, a little cool environment. Keep it as dark as possible, and most importantly, avoid your gadgets. Please, please avoid your gadgets before you go to sleep. I request you all to do this because you don't know the amount it disturbs. For example, let me say I'm using my phone at 9:30. I'm anyways going to go sleep at 10. It's fine. Half an hour, I have kept myself away from the device. Do you know that a streak of blue light can disturb your sleep for the next 3 hours? It's not practical for us to be away from gadgets. May not be practical for many to, limit your gadgets at 7 p.m. and go to sleep at 10 p.m. At least for 1 hour. And before that 1 hour, whenever you're using gadgets, try to use a blue light filtering glasses. It'll help you. A very simple tool to help you. And why no to late night meals? For good sleep, you should avoid having meals right before you sleep, and you should ideally avoid meals 2 to 3 hours before going to sleep. There is scientific reason behind this. One, it disturbs sleep. I would like you all to look at this particular simple graphical representation of the hormones being secreted. The red line is for insulin and the black line is for melatonin. You can see at 6 a.m., insulin starts secreting and it tapers off at 6 p.m. What does that signify? Ideally, if you eat beyond 6 p.m., you tend to gain weight. It is not going to get digested. You will get all the non-communicable diseases. But what is practically possible? At least by 7:30, we can try, completing our dinner, our meals. That will be better. I'm not asking you all to, like this, start today, eat before 6 p.m. dinner. No. But something, little bit of change. I realized that here, where I was staying, the dinner starts at 8 p.m. or beyond. So many of you, I saw you eating and drinking Coke last night. Especially, I saw a couple of girls who had done immense physical activity in their sports dress and having Coke, all of them, 2 or 3 of them. So it's not going to help you. So that's why sleep is important, and eat on time, sleep on time. I'm not going to deal much about stress. Doctor and madam have dealt it adequately. So just one recent research finding I came across in the newspaper. With all this being said, 53% of doctors are diabetic, 20% of them are obese, and 24% are hypertensive. Does this ring a bell? Yeah? Why? Why is this prevalent? Irrespective of having the adequate knowledge on health, health professionals themselves are failing to implement this in their life. They're doing good to others by telling them so and so is good or making them do it, but they're not implementing in themselves. So knowledge alone is not sufficient in any field. Without action, no results. Just remember that. It's a very simple thing, but I want you to remember that. Next slide, sir. This is one interesting study. According to the Mind Labs International, if you listen to the music called Weightless, I think it's around a 8-minute odd video on YouTube. If you just listen to this music, it says that your anxiety levels can reduce by 65%. It's a very interesting study. Very simple. You're just taking a walk. Probably you can just listen to this music, or you're on the treadmill. Listen to this music. We'll all listen to other songs. Yeah, fine. Songs are relaxing. I don't deny at all. But probably this one also you can listen to. Right? Social connections, the next pillar we are dealing with. Why are social connections important? How many of you feel you're socially connected adequately? How many of us do feel? Yes. Oh, you're feeling adequate. Yeah, okay. I thought you were about to ask a question. Okay, that's nice. Now that you raised your hand, I just want to ask you, you feel socially connected offline also or only online? Offline. That is what I want to suggest. By having, thousands of friends on Facebook or Instagram, no, you should be in physical touch with the person. You need to be able to greet them and say hi, not just text them hi and then you don't, even recognize them when they are right in front of you. Okay, so there is a 2010 meta-analysis which is, enlightening for me. For all those who don't smoke and probably are lonely, there's a study which says if you're lonely, you carry the same risk of a smoker having 15 cigarettes per day. So, loneliness is the new smoking, and sitting is again the new smoking. Okay, so probably again after the session is over, we'll all try to stand up. Yeah. Some other interesting research. Apart from the smoking relevance I gave here, it, it is said in the Heart Journal that 29% there is an increased risk of heart disease and 32% higher risk for stroke if you are lonely. Second, immune function. It is very well known that your immunity is better if you have positive social connections. Same was true in COVID. For those who had a positive relationship and a support in the family, they were able to fight it better, or probably they didn't even get the infection. So that's an example I can quote for this. And longevity, yes. The Harvard study has been one of the longest study for the longevity medicine. And it said if you're lonely, you'll probably die faster. Some tips. Social media, I'm not against it. But as I said, try to have as many offline connections as possible, like you do online. And it's very important for digital fasting. For all those who are doing intermittent fasting, first try to do digital fasting. Intermittent fasting comes next. Okay, so digital fasting from doom scrolling, YouTubing, binge watching, you need to try to reduce it slowly. And how many of you have faced this phantom phone vibration syndrome? That is in medicine, for example, a person who has met with an road traffic accident and has got his limb amputated, for a few days, he does feel that the limb is still there. That is called the phantom limb. Similarly, there is a new term called the phantom phone vibration syndrome. That is, we always keep thinking our phone is vibrating or ringing. You feel you keep hearing that ringtone on your phones. That is phantom phone vibration syndrome. If you're probably in this step, it means you need to detox yourself from the digital device. Practice active listening. Madam had well said you need to empathize with the patient, not just patient, empathize with anybody and make them feel they are listened to, not just heard. Hearing is different from listening, right? So practice active listening and join community groups. By community groups, I mean any group of your interest. For example, these young boys here are serving a great purpose here by trying to coordinate and build awareness. Similarly, if you are too much into sports, you can be a part of a sports club, or if you're spiritual, you can go for a spirituality trip together. Form some sort of community and find a common ground and try to improve your social connections as much as possible. Next. How to get started on a digital detox. Picture speaks a million words. I completely agree. And I would like to just read out a few points from this particular slide. First, be mindful of your emotions and when you use your device. Many of us today just take the device because we may not have something better to do as we assume. You're getting a message and you're seeing is different. You don't get a message also, you assume somebody would have messaged, although you know your notifications are on. Okay, many of us are facing this, so try to be mindful. That is number one. Second, schedule unplugging from your device. Charging it and unplugging the device is okay, but unplug yourself from the device first. Third, track your usage with apps. Many of our phones, I think we need not even install. It tells your screen time has been so and so up by this much percentage this week, etc. So look into that and disconnect before bedtime. As I already told you, use blue light filtering glasses and try to avoid for at least 1 hour the digital devices before you go to bed. Switch off notifications if possible. This for sure my dad does. He tries to avoid at least, I would say, half an hour to 45 minutes before going to sleep and puts his notifications off. In fact, he switches off his phone. So that will be better. At least switch your notifications off. Downgrade your phone, I'm not telling because it's not possible to many. Detox retreats, yes, if you want to take a break and do some sort of detox retreat, it's good. All of us are doing detox for our skin, etc. Detox yourself from digital devices also. Digital detox is equally important. And cultivate your hobbies and social life. Finally, consider connecting with a mental health professional if you feel you are a little bit beyond the line. Next slide, sir. So, time for a little fun, some words here. Technology is a useful servant but a dangerous master. Many of us has heard this. Technology, I'm not referring to anyone here in IIT. This was some random quote on Google. Okay, so the next is almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including yourself, including myself, every one of us. It'll work better. Okay, and disconnect to rejuvenate and reconnect. Can we all disconnect today for some time to reconnect better tomorrow? We can. We just need to make our minds to it. Yeah. So some practical takeaways and summary from this entire topic. I would like each one of you to tell me one point about the pillar I spoke about. Like we discussed about nutrition, gut health, physical activity, not much about stress or avoidance of harmful substances which they have dealt. So the remaining, whatever we spoke about, sleep, etc. One point which you remember, I would like you all to tell me something which you feel was useful. Okay, tell me about the nutrition label. What will you look for? Huh? 2232. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So, okay, no, that was right. Actually, now it was 2232 then. Now it is 2650. So basically, it was just the number of steps I was taking throughout this period. So it refers to a very small place I've been trying to walk during this talk. That's why I didn't want to stand behind here and walk the talk. As doctors who is telling something to be done, we should follow it. So this was just to show you how many number of steps you can take by just doing something as part and parcel of your life. Thank you, sir, for reminding it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for being such a sport. Thank you. So, yeah, coming back. Nutrition label, I'll again emphasize the key points. When you look for it, first look at the serving size. The serving size can be smaller or more than the entire quantity in the packet, number one. Number two, don't forget the 5-10 rule. That is 5% of daily value or less in terms of saturated fat, added sugars or sugars for that matter, and sodium, and 10% or more of vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber. In terms of sleep, as much as possible, try to sleep for at least 7 hours and within a time frame of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Even if you wake up early, 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m., it's very good. You'll be able to concentrate better. Many of us do think, no, I'm a night person or I'm a morning person. No, there is no such person. We made ourselves like that, right? So we can change it in due course of time. It might take some more time than the others, but it's okay. We can change it today for being healthier tomorrow. Third, gut health. Don't forget this topic. The gut-brain axis is actually a two-way communication pathway where your gut communicates with your brain through the vagus nerve. And as I told you, for your mental health to be on track, 90% of serotonin is going to be released from your gut. And for your immune system to be stronger, 70% of it is already there in your gut. So for you to be healthy physically, mentally, holistically, your gut should be good. And now that we discussed nutrition, gut, sleep, what am I missing? Social connections. I think we just told that. Relationships. See, I'm continuously telling social connections. Positive social connections are important. It's not just a social connection. Positive social connection. If a relationship is like removing you from yourself, it's taking away your identity, it may not be the one for you. right? So try to be mindful of your choices and don't think it's the end of anything. We already said knowledge plus action only will give you results. And in your mind, I would like you all to think, what is that one small change or one small baby step that I can take today for my health? One small baby step, because all these small steps which we think may not do a big change will ultimately result in sustainable and good health. So do some small changes if you can, and that will make me happier and feel complete for having come here today. Yeah, thank you. So let's end this with this quote. True wellness is not just the absence of illness, but it's a journey of growth, balance, and connection. And I'm not on any social media. I've not been on social media for at least now 8, 9 years. I did during my high school days. I was there due to peer pressure, but then I think in my 11th grade, I started digital detox 8, 9 years ago in my 11th grade. So I think you can also do it. It is possible. So that's my mail ID. Any queries you had from this session, even if it came to your mind later on, you can feel free to mail me. I'll reply to you as early as possible. And yeah, thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a wonderful hearing from you.
Thank
See,
you.
as a university administrator, we are constantly at the receiving end of students asking us to extend the facility more and
Yeah.
more. Library, extend it beyond 2 o'clock at night. uh, Eating places, keep them on 24 hours, open more and more eating places, allow everybody everywhere.
Hmm.
So, I mean, how do we even impress on our students the wonderful things you shared, that
Yeah.
you need to sleep,
Yeah.
huh? You need to eat
Yeah.
at the right time,
Yes.
right? 7 o'clock, you said. If I ask our students to eat at 7 o'clock, they will look at me as if I'm coming from a pre-industrial era. So
Yes.
you are a young person, how do we even handle such issues?
Got it, sir. I know it's very difficult to just wash away all that we were going through till date and make our routine based on lifestyle medicine. But at least, for example, if you're a person who's eating at 11:30, eat at 10:30 today for a month. Slowly, like you can taper, just like how we in medicine taper the dose of steroids. It's not good to stop all at once also. Even they say the same for smoking addiction. If you can, good, but if you can't, fine, because you'll end up again with the craving. There'll be the same cue, it'll cause a trigger, and again you will have lapse and relapse, and you will be sunken down to the same point where you started. So take baby steps. Slowly you can change. And from the administrative point of view, I completely understand and empathize with you, sir, and about what you're feeling. But again, it should come from the students. You should have your arms wide open to receive what others are doing here for the betterment of your health. As simple as that. Yeah. Yeah. One second. The mic is coming to you. Yeah.
Okay, so as you said that our waist in May should be lower than 90 centimeters or
Yeah.
80 centimeters, right?
80 centimeter for women and 90 centimeter for men.
So I am 60 centimeters and my weight is 47 kg. In
Okay.
last month, I had like in whole October, I took a count of my meals. So number of meals I took in throughout October was, I guess, I remember the
Number
number
of
it being
number
number
of
of meals in a like
okay,
whole
meals in a
month.
day.
My meals were around 19.
19.
Yes,
So
so
that is less than one meal a
a
day.
day. So I
Okay.
realized that I adopted to not eating a lot and I was really unhealthy. So how to be consistent at eating? That is my problem.
Oh, okay. It was very nice of you to share something this personal. With that, I'll tell you first one research study. We all think being obese is more dangerous than being lean, but recent study says being 5 kg underweight is more dangerous than being 5 kg overweight. We all think, okay, we are lean, it's good. No, not at all. You're more prone to immune disturbances. You'll catch up infections like this, and then it can go on to till the end of your life, disturbing you. So, coming to your question, how do you improve yourself? So, can you start at least making sure you have one good meal a day? One balanced meal a day. Now that you're almost having one meal, can you try balancing your meal such that you have more protein, adequate amount of carbs because you're having only one meal, more fruits and vegetables, one proper meal, and probably, excuse me, probably when you're doing something like you're reading, can you tell yourself, one second. Yeah. Sorry. Can you tell yourself, like, if you're finishing a particular chapter or you're doing an exercise, can you keep food as a reward system for you? Is that possible? It's possible, right? So you think it's like something you had to do because you completed this. It's an achievement, it's a gift to yourself. Nourish yourself that way. And even if you're eating one meal, it's okay. You can gradually improve, but make that one meal as good as possible. Okay. 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 Need to move. Okay, okay. We can do one thing. We are going to be here after the lunch session as well, where I can speak to you privately. You can come to me. We can probably design your meal plan and look into it better, right? Yeah. By the way, have something in lunch, huh? And then come. That'll be more positive. Hmm?
Yeah, so you talked about nutrition and all,
Yeah.
but there are so many things in nutrition. You
Yes.
cannot keep track of all of them.
You cannot.
And also like of the food you eat, like they don't have labeling as such.
Yeah.
So I mean, how can you solve that?
See,
Because
yeah.
we tend to overeat or have some particular things more than it is required.
Mm.
So how can you solve that?
Okay. First, you need to actually check if you are overeating or not. Many of us do assume we are overeating or undereating, but it can be the reverse. That's point number one. Point number two, if your concern is about the foods that do not have labels and it is home prepped or cooked by you or cooked by someone who you trust, it is a good choice. If it's coming from the restaurants where we don't know what is being the ingredient added, etc., then you can try to limit it. If not possible, at least make mindful choices. For example, there was a slide in the beginning where I can actually go back to that slide and talk a little more. Oh, do I? Just a minute. Huh? That'll actually answer your question better. Yes. So this particular slide, the 9 photos in the first grid on the left are the pictures taken after I cooked that particular meal at home over the last 2 weeks. And except the first picture on the right, except this dahi papdi chat made in a healthier version, remaining are photos of what I had eaten over the last couple of months outside. So, am I completely avoiding junk? No. But can you make healthier choices when you are going to the restaurants and when you are eating the foods that you're craving for? Yes. For example, no fried food, but you want a fried food. How do you make it healthy? There's a paneer kunafa there. We all have heard of Turkish delights, but instead of eating a sweet, if you're craving for a kunafa, or if you're craving for something else, probably you can make it like, a healthier version. Go for something that is protein rich. Similarly, the dahi papdi chat that I had prepared, I am a huge fan of chats, okay, but ever since I stepped into wellness, I'm trying to back myself from it, because most of them have been made with maida. But the papdi in this was made with whole wheat and millets at home. And also we are aware of what oil we are using. There's so many myths going on. Initially they said ghee is good, and then they said ghee is not good, coconut oil is not good, and now they're coming back to the point number one and telling they are the best. So don't fall into the trap. So don't fall into this trap. I'm very sorry. By the way, personally, I have very high allergy triggers. I myself have been starting on an anti-inflammatory diet. I have very high allergy triggers. Even in the flight, just the air conditioning in the flight made me cough throughout the 3 hours. I'm happy that I didn't cough, at least during the presentation. I think again it's in the mind when you're more focused. So yeah, that is about your question. Yes. Do your research. All of you are going to be professionals. You might be aware of study designs, right? You might be aware about cohort study, case control study, a randomized control trial. You know the difference between an observational and interventional study, right? So when something comes up in the newspaper article that you feel you need to implement, if possible, do check it out. Why they have said so, what, because just like we call Chinese whispers, I quote something, or I do some research and I publish a result. Someone from the media takes the result, makes it a little interesting, and puts it as the title of the newspaper. Someone sees that and makes a blog, and ultimately the blog reaches you on social media. Something between the lines has gone missing, and you finally assume what you have read is it. So, if possible, since we are all in the field of science, if you can do your own research, why they have said so, you will get your answers yourself. Yeah.
So one small explanation for director sir's question actually
Yes.
that you're at. So fundamentally, sir, so what doctor was saying is gut is called second brain. Simply, like serotonin is more released than in brain, like in. So your answers are what we usually deal when it comes to this extended hours of eating, and people will say, as doctors, what I would say, suppose your body is evolutionarily designed in certain way, right? Your ancestors, my ancestors used to go for hunting in the morning, have their lunch, breakfast, dinner, in certain way, evolution, where your body is made up. Now you have to use the body in a way it is designed to. You can't buy a brand new BMW, take it onto a hilltop, come back to a mechanic saying that it broke down. That is not for that. You can't, you have to design, you have to use your body in a very designed way. And evolution is very simple, like, timely food or physical activities or the diet, what doctor was actually telling regarding in this Indian peninsula, we use coconut oils or sunflower oils or ghee, which is a staple diet for all of us. That was the concept of using olive oil for cooking. See, your genetics, your father's, your grandfather's genetics were based on the food which you had. So your body is very much okay for this particular thing. So use it in a way you're designed. You can't say that I'll eat my food at 3 o'clock and in the morning I'm getting gastritis and I'm having issues with my concentration. That's what you're buying a brand new car and saying using it in another way and saying coming to the mechanic 10 times it has been broken down. It will not work in that way. Yes, do you agree with me? Yeah.
Yes, and for students, as much I am for you, let me tell you also something. There is no option. Whether it is today or tomorrow, you have to shift your food habits. There is no option. Maybe 5 years down the line, 6 years down the line, you will have to get into what doctor said. Yeah? So let's do it from now and influence your other friends. Yeah? Thank you.
There's something called as biological age and chronological age. So we live as long as our biology is fine. It's not the date of birth that determines your death. It's your organ aging. So that is based upon your health. So a person may be 40-year-old, but his organs may be 60-year-old. When the lifespan of an Indian is going to be 65, that means he's going to die actually at 45 years of age, but his organs are already 65 plus. So that is one point you need to understand. Second, stress is a big killer. So if you see India-wise, the people who have a shorter lifespan are supposed to be software. Second comes doctors. There's no study about IIT. No. But I'm sure the stress that you go through and you're focused on being a high achiever, I consider the most important business for all of us should first be alive, should stay healthy. Everything else will follow. I would like to say that if you're happy, success will follow you. It's not that success will follow with your happiness. We've seen so many successful people who are depressed, anxious. Always it's a problem for them. Many of them do not have a problem, and that's the problem also. So there's no end to it.
Yeah, there was one thing on the newspaper, right? A wife divorced her husband because he apparently didn't fight with her.
Yes.
We have heard of divorces where because of fights, but there is one peculiar person who is divorced because there was no fight.
So just suggestion that actionable things are possible. You need not go strictly follow any regimen. What suits you, you can follow. But we all should understand that if the insulin is going to be decreased after 6 o'clock, which is actually helpful for your sugar to be controlled, and if melatonin, which is going to be helpful for your sleep, is going to be released from 6 o'clock, then we need to have a pattern where we should fit into that system. Anyone in any part of India or world anywhere, it's all the same for everyone. So you can't say I'm an IITN or I'm a doctor, I'm immune from this. No, everyone are same. If you don't follow this, if you eat late, or say you sleep late, then you should understand there's a word called late, which can be put in front of your name. So that's also very important. If you're not there, if you achieve all the rank, if you get a placement, your placement is fast for somewhere else. You've all given a visa to be in this planet, but it's not permanent. All of us are going to leave. But if you want to leave early, yes, you should follow whatever you're doing now. If you don't want to change, then it's again your problem only. Our aim of coming up here to IIT is that we are feeling bad that such brilliant minds' lives are going wasted because of all those reasons that they spoke. And if you are able to make a change in preventing this untimely death, or not being kind to themselves, or not being selfish about themselves. Selfish is considered as a bad word by many, but it's such a right word where you need to be actually taking up for yourself first. Only if you are able to be happy for yourself, take care of your health, then everything else will come. Health is wealth, everyone knows it. But we need to put that into practice, including the doctors. You saw the statistics, it's so shocking. It's a paradox that we speak about health, we treat patients, but we don't treat ourselves. We consider nothing happens to ourselves. That's the biggest problem for all of us. And it's true with IITians also. The statistics of death or depression or the number of people who have psychological issues is definitely higher in high achievers. So our initiative here is to see how many could afford to spend time with us today and also online through your IIT administrators, so that it will be a one-to-one where we would like to definitely help you out, and we would like you to be useful for yourself, family, and the nation, which has spent so much money on IITs, and they're not making money out of it. They're spending it to nation building. So this is our small initiative to this, and I hope it reaches wider public, and your personal things will not be shared to anyone. anyone for that matter. It's only if you're consulting a psychologist, it's only between you. The agreement is only between you all. Unless if it is going to be determinal to yourself or to the people around you and for the institute, which means an imminent danger for your life. That's when we have to divulge.
Code of ethics.
That is according to ethics we follow for any patient for that matter. Okay.
All four of us will be available. You can have dermatology, clinical psychology, madam is there, Dr. Bhargav is there for any other psychiatric issues you want to consult, and I'll be available to help you improve your lifestyle as well. After lunch, whoever is interested and needs help can definitely come. Any queries also, you can come. Okay. Yes, sir.
We are running.
Uh, Madam, I have some issue, like personal, some issue, some mental problem. Yeah, so where should we come here or in?
I will announce it. I'll announce now. Huh? Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your wonderful and valuable, in-depth information for not just keeping the food habit, also keeping us in a positive spirit. Now I invite our director sir to come forward to give a felicitate all the doctors. Please, sir. Sir, we can come on the stage. We can slide. Yes. Now I request the doctor teams to please come forward to just take this token of appreciation.
I can't thank you enough I mean, you had me spellbound for more than 2.5 hours. It's wonderful. I hope our students and our colleagues pay attention and take these wisdom, right? And especially things about eating early, sleeping early, adequate sleep, good nutrition, right? Simple things. I mean, it's not like it's only rocket science that I mean, what they said was extremely simple things. And finally, he said, if you're used to doing certain things, you know, from historically, right, your ancestors continue the same thing. Thank you, sir. Thank you, doctor. So we start with CL. Thank you, sir. Okay, this okay. So this is okay, small. Oh, okay. No, together. No. Yeah, together. This was separate. Okay. Yep. You can stay. You can look.
And we can again join together.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, doctor. You know, I mean, I hope our really your talk was effective because you connect with them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, old man connecting is not easy, right? I mean, I might say things, they'll say, oh, okay, Jammu.
So we'll just go on. Yeah. So with that, we come to the end of this program. We thank everyone who supported to make this event success, and also we thank our CET team who made this program to be live on YouTube, and this YouTube videos are anytime available for our students or any students who wants to refer to this particular video. And the interaction with the doctors will takes place at 2 o'clock. From 2 o'clock onwards in the hospital, our IITG hospital, in room number 102 and 103. And those students who want to meet them and interact with them, please be at your ease. Truly speaking, no administrator will from now onwards will look at it. They will be available, I think, till 9 p.m. if I am correct, or what? Yeah. So up to 8 p.m. they will be available. From 2 to 6. Please visit them, talk to them. We are not in between, because you want to have a personal and secret discussion with them. I hope it will be beneficial. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone, and have a great day ahead, please. And the small refreshment is arranged for everyone. Please collect it from the foyer before leaving this hall. Thank you.